I just got back from seeing Exit 8 and I really enjoyed this one. So let's talk about it. If you've never heard of Exit 8, it is a popular liminal horror game that essentially follows you having to go through a abandoned subway corridor that seems endless. And the only way to move on into the other levels, which also look exactly the same, is to identify differences on each and every level. And if you do, you turn around and go back, you go to the next level. If you don't, you restart. That kind of description of the game, if you've ever played it before, you know there really isn't a ton of story, if any at all. And so while I was really excited when they first announced that they were going to be adapting it, I was also really worried because there's just not a ton to go off of. But tonight, I was very pleasantly surprised with what they were able to pull off. First and foremost, I want to start with the camera work on display here. This is something I talk about a lot when it comes to video game to movie adaptations, and something I talked about in my recent Super Mario Galaxy movie review. It's just that when we are adapting video games to movies, I do think there are choices that have to be made in terms of, are we going to be adapting some of the playability with it? And something that Exit 8 does really well right off the bat is we are taken into a first person POV to start pretty much the first 5 to maybe 10 minutes of the movie. And right from there, I knew that we were going to be locked in. And the camera work throughout the entire movie is really inventive and creative. And with something that can be almost repetitive, especially if you played the game, it can become very repetitive very quickly, and that doesn't necessarily translate well to a movie. They did a really good job of changing camera perspectives, changing character perspectives. Probably some of the best I've seen for a video game adaptation of trying to find that balance between narrative and playability. And now the most important thing, story. There's not really any story in these games. And what they were able to pull together for the movie, I thought was very emotional. And while there are definitely plenty of moments where I was almost like wishing that they would just turn around once they've definitely noticed that there was an anomaly happening in the subway station, I was like, come on, what are we doing? Turn around. Did really appreciate them lingering with those moments and also trying to heighten the situation and the horror there and provide us those character moments that are really important when we are trying to adapt something that doesn't have a lot to go off of. Look, if you're like me and waiting for the back rooms to come out and you're really excited about that, Exit 8 is something that is definitely going to scratch that itch. If you think it's worth your time, you should totally check it out. One of the better video game to movie adaptations. Let me know what you think. Have you heard of this? Are you planning to see it? Let me know.